You're watching Co-op for Two. I'm Jesse. I'm here with Greg.
Thanks for having me on your channel.
This is another episode in our series called Board Game Chat. It's going to be a very quick episode. I really want to talk about one main thing, but the title of this video is something like, oh yes?
How many people do you think are hearing that this is going to be a quick video and thinking, no, it's not?
Well, this is why it's not, Greg, because you always interject these things.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay. The title of this video is going to be something like 3 ways to pay tribute to a board game friend who dies. Kind of a somber.
I feel bad about my
Somber
joke now.
title, yeah,
But
you should.
celebration of life.
That's right. Okay. So there's one main one, one important one, and that's the one I want to talk about right up front. Because if you only watch it, you only need to watch this one. On Board Game Geek, which is sort of the central monopolized board game website.
I always refer to it as the IMDb of, it's like to board games, how IMDb is to movies, which is the easiest way to describe it.
Every serious board gamer knows about Board Game Geek. Okay. There's a feature on Board Game Geek called Geek Lists. And mainly what they're there for is people can make a list like my favorite detective games or games I played in 2012 or, best games to play at a party.
Sure.
Okay. So I was reading these geek lists one time, about a year ago, and I stumbled across one which was called something like a tribute to John Doe. It was someone posting a tribute to his friend who had died. And when you make this geek list, you pick a game and then you might write something about the game. Okay, so they had picked a bunch of games, and in each one it was like Axis and Allies, and then they said, this is the first game I ever played with John back in 1980s. He loved it. We always had fun. We would meet at his house, eat sandwiches. And number 2 would be, this is the game that John was most proud of, And you start reading these and you get a bump in your heart. It's very touching. It's like the way this person who loved board games would have loved being remembered. All the fun they had playing this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we make these connections with, we are friends because I put some games on Craigslist and you bought them, and then we became friends and we play games together, but then we build a friendship, because of that, and also outside of that. Like if we took board games away, we'd still be friends, but it's such an important, connection, so it's
and a lot of memories, a lot of really fun memories, and watching this person pay tribute to their friend and all the fun they had. It was so sweet. And I remember after that, Greg and I were walking and talking, and I was telling Greg, this is how I want, if I die, I was telling Greg about this tribute thing. I was like, this is how I want to be remembered. It was very important to me. And then I do remember that a week later, I was like, all right, Greg, you remember that thing? And Greg was like, it was something about Board Game Geek, and he completely forgot it.
I couldn't remember the
But hopefully this will make you remember. But don't you think that would be a nice way? Wouldn't you like to be remembered by one of these? I would love that if if I died, someone posted, here are the games I play with Jesse and the fun we had.
Well, I think one thing that these are just my my hot takes, I guess, on what you're saying. But I guess there's sort of if you were to be remembered at at a funeral or a wake or some kind of friends gathering or whatever, a lot of times you might have people there that you may be related to, your family, but you're not, you don't feel this close to maybe some members of your family or coworkers or things like that. But it's like those friends of the family you choose for yourself, right? And when sometimes you feel like, well, they maybe you don't act like yourself completely around maybe your coworkers, or maybe some of your relatives or your spouse's relatives or something. You might have to kind of you act a little differently, whereas maybe you can show maybe more of your true self, or find that bond with people that really are passionate about what you're passionate about, and then maybe have a greater understanding that maybe someone else wouldn't. You could talk about some story from a game, and they might be like, somebody might just their eyes glaze over, they have no idea what you're talking about, but another gamer will be like, no way, and then that happened, so there's a connection there that maybe you might not have with someone.
And they're talking about the times that you had fun, you really had fun, and that's a nice way to remember someone, the times they really had fun. Okay, so that's the main one, and then I've just got two more that are just sort of small ones, but one that might be worth thinking about. So the one that probably would occur to a lot of people who are serious board gamers is, maybe have a party. So this is number two. Have a party with the people you used to play games with, minus this one person who is gone, and play games and sort of celebrate the person's life by remembering that they used to like this game and just talking about them as you play and have fun. You're paying tribute to something they liked by doing it with their friends.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a very sad, somber occasion to be playing. But I mean, like I kind of said that thing about a celebration of life before. A couple of friends of mine passed away. They were twins and they passed away, and they knew they had a problem where they knew they were going to die for many, many, many years, and they planned this whole thing about this funeral was just like this. They made it so it would be like they wanted people to go and they would cry, but they would laugh, and it would be this very cathartic thing. And you would want, I don't, if I passed away, I would want people to get together and remember fondly and try to bring some joy, I don't know, and play a game. That would be very, very sweet. And
it's bittersweet. It would be a bittersweet moment, some fun moments, and missing them and wishing they were there. Yeah. I mean, that's nice way to remember them.
Like if you were there, you'd be like, maybe you look down at a messy board and be like, well, Greg probably would reach over and straighten my cards up or something.
And that's what the group would be talking about. Like, there are people who know you from that, and they'd be like, oh, Jesse would love this game, or Greg would have hated this part, or whatever.
Well, I think you had mentioned about the geek list before and stuff, and I'm just kind of thinking about it. And it's interesting because we live in a society now where everybody has a cell phone and everybody's taking pictures of stuff constantly. And, you and I are a lot older than, this generation, and so we didn't have all that when we were kids and stuff. And, I don't think to do this, and I do think to do it, I guess, but it's recording the games in BGG. That's another thing. You can record your plays and stuff. And, you said that about those memories, but sometimes I mean, I know people are stuck in their phone or whatever, but, taking a picture or writing down a story or, recording a play or something or a memory, that's kind of nice. So, I mean, not just for a somber occasion, but also when it's New Year's or something and you want to share hey, these are my moments from the year or something. And then, of course, you could look back through those many years later, decades later, if you and I were, older, and it's oh, I remember all these fun things or whatever. It's kind of
yes,
sweet.
Well, that's the perfect segue to my third and last item, which is consider recording a playthrough session, a video recording a playthrough session with some people that are special to you, either your board game friends that you play with or a family member. I have videos of just hanging out with my father, and when he passed away, watching those they're very bittersweet, but there's something very different. These days, it's very common for people to record, put a camera in front of someone's face and say who you are, say whatever. But there's something very different from that, and then having a camera that's like a fly on the wall, capturing a real moment of your real life when you're relaxing, having fun. So,
of course, you'd have to clear that with everybody, because so not everybody's going to be comfortable with that.
Of course, yeah. But consider if your group might like that, and especially if you have a board game relationship with a parent. There's something very special about having a nice big long 2-hour chunk of time when people are just being themselves, having fun. It's nice to have video of people having fun to remember them by.
Yeah, that was I mean, that's very, I mean, you had brought that up to me before about this whole thing, about the first point about the geek list or something, and that's really pretty cool. And that's, I hope, this is people will watch that and be like, wow, I never ever thought of that before or considered that. And I certainly hadn't. So when you told me that, I did think it was interesting at the time, and I had forgotten the details of it. You kind of changed it a little bit, but I'd forgotten the exact details of it. But now, hearing about it now, that's a really neat thing. And, that's, I hope that sort of, inspires somebody or to maybe take some kind of steps like that too. Or if you're in a more serious, sad situation, I hope that maybe this is something that might, help to ease things along or something.
Yeah.
Or make things happier but yeah, that's a very neat thing.
All right, folks, if you like this video, please consider becoming a subscriber, and you can watch some of our other videos. Most of them are not this somber, but we'll continue this board game chat series. And if you have ideas for other discussions that you'd like us to have,
Hey,
leave a comment.
And hey, maybe shoot a text to somebody, say, hey, I really value you as a gaming partner.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, or like, hey, thanks that was real fun playing the other day or something.
Yeah, let people know while
Jesse's
they're still
always
around.
reminding me.
That's a great point. Let people know while they're still around how much you appreciate spending time with them.
I appreciate you, Jesse.
I appreciate you too,
I
Greg.
do, actually. That's the truth.
All right, we'll see you next time.